Hari Om Namaskaram. All this is not mine. I am returning it to whom it belongs. Whatever I keep remains a debt on me. Shall I ever be able to repay it? I wonder. These words were said by LOKMATA DEVI Ahilyabai Holkar. She strongly believed that the credit for her actions belonged solely to the infinite Lord. In our last episode, we saw the childhood days of Ahilyabai and her becoming the queen of Malwa. In this episode, we are going to see how she ruled her kingdom and her contribution towards the revival of Sanatana Dharma and our sacred places. Devi Ahilyabai ruled for 30 years. Quite a long period, isn't it? Malwa prospered in her rule. Pandit Nehru, in his book Discovery of India, has praised Devi Ahilyabai. She strongly believed that the rulers have no say on the people's money. So what? There was generous tax cuts. This made the farmers and the citizens, merchants, financially prosper. There was infrastructure projects. Many roads, bridges, wells, forts were built. Indore, which was an underdeveloped village, changed into an influential town. After some years, she shifted her capital to Maheshwar. Maheshwar is the same Maheshwati which comes in our Puranas, the place where Karthavirajan was there. In Maheshwati only, Adi Shankaracharya had a debate with Mandana Mishra. In Maheshwar, she opened a robust textile industry. It is still there. Famous as Maheshwari saris. Art and architecture flourished. The Prasara Bharati channel on Maheshwar Ahilyabai says that उनके राज्य में तो चैनी हथौड़े की आवाज रुकते ही नहीं. She treated both her citizens and her children equal. She loved her citizens. She was ever accessible for her subjects. She abolished unjust laws. Previously, the government could seize the property of the widows. Apart from granting financial autonomy to widows, she also allowed them to adopt children. In those days, kingdoms used to have problems with the tribal people in the borders. Bills. She thought that they were also her own citizens. So, she gave them cultivable land and bought peace in exchange. Once there was problem of dacoits in her kingdom. You know what she did? She took an extraordinary decision which you cannot imagine. She just declared that whoever would catch a dacoit, she would give her daughter in marriage. A commoner, Yashwantrao Fancy, captured the dacoits and got married to the princess. She was a great warrior. She fought many a battle and won. Even at the age of 67, there was a war against a rival Maratha king. She won. She fought and won. She was always just in her decision. Once a neighboring Maratha king came with a proposal which was beneficial for Indore, but it was not just. Ahilyabai did not agree to it. During her rule, there was stability in Malwa. She easily curbed internal conflicts and also the external enemies. She had far-sightedness. She could correctly judge the British. She compared the British with that of the wild animal bear. While other wild animals can be easily captured or killed, bear it is very difficult because the bear hugs its prey. She appointed a French commander in her army to train her people with the European warfare. Up to now, we saw Ahilyabai Holkar as a great administrator. Now we are going to see how she revived our sacred places. Each one have their own way of connecting to God. Somebody sings, does kirtan, somebody does puja. Some people go to the temple, some people go on a pilgrimage. க்ஷேத்திரங்கள் போகிற நிலைமையில் இருந்தால் தானே க்ஷேத்திரம் பண்ண முடியும். Yes. Before Ahilyabai, many of our sacred places were destroyed by foreign invaders or the rulers who did not believe in our Sanatana Dharma. Devi Ahilyabai reconstructed, renovated hundreds of such temples. 4 among the Jyotirlinga Kshetras, Krishneshwar, Baidyanath, Somanath, Kashi are among them. She renovated Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Dwaraka, Kedarnath, Omkareshwar. She built the Vishnupada temple in Gaya. Chardham Yatra, even though it's very difficult, no landslides occur. In those days, how difficult it should have been. She built roads and bridges to go to Badrinath. Gangajal is very sacred for us. She ensured continuous supply of Gangajal to 34 sacred places in our Bharat. Tirupati and Rameshwaram were among them. She sponsored for Pandits for spiritual practices in these temples. Apart from renovating the sacred places, she facilitated pilgrimage. She built roads, bridges, then dharmashalas, meal centers, gardens, ghats, Ashashwamedha Ghat and Manikarnika Ghat in Kashi were built by her. For all this, she gave up personal money. As soon as she inherited the Holkar dynasty's treasure, immediately she did puja and diverted it for charity. Hers was charity without vanity. This illustrious, glorious rule of Ahilyabai came to an end in 1795 when she was 70 years old. By now, people all around knew about her and she was regarded as LOKMATA Devi. She was one of the finest rulers that ever existed. We have seen the life history of Devi Ahilyabai. What do we learn from her? Selfless service, which is the ideal trait of leadership. She was a karma yogini. During her reign, she lost 27 of her close family members, but she did not allow her personal grief to interfere with her dharma as a ruler. She had the tenacity to continue her work in spite of sorrows coming in. The next, humility, which is the fabric of leadership. She was very humble. We have known that all Rajas and Maharajas have big palaces. But Ahilya Devi's Rajvada was just a 2-story building in front of Narmada. She always used to have sattvic food. A small example from her life which shows her humility. Once a poet had come. He had written a poem praising Ahilyabai. He presented it before her. She listened to it and then thanked him for the poem. Then she took him to the river. She immersed his work in the water. She did not want anybody to praise her. She was so selfless, so humble. How? Because of her eternal connection with the Divine Lord. The third important character of her, devotion, which is the foundation for leadership. She did not consider herself as a queen. She thought that her kingdom belonged to the Bhagavan and she was just a guardian of it. She was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So whenever she used to sign in the government documents, she used to write Sri Shankara and then only sign. All government orders at the command of Shankara. She was not only pious but inculcated devotion in the minds of people around her. Every day, 110,000 Shivalingas used to be made of mud, Parthivalingas, and then representing the people of Maheshwar, puja done and then immersed in Narmada. All her actions were spurred solely by an unwavering commitment to the welfare of her nation. Whatever she did for her people. In short, Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. I pray God that at least some of our leaders follow the footprints of Devi Ahilyabai. Jai Sitaram.